Life today is noisy. Notifications, deadlines, family, bills. Everything demands your attention at once. You wake up tired, rush through the day, and fall asleep wondering where the time went. You feel busy, but not necessarily effective. Deep down, you know, I'm capable of more than this. I'm not using my full potential. This video is an invitation to step out of that chaos for a moment. In this script, we'll walk through the 7 core habits from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People as a narrative journey from dependence to independence to interdependence. We'll move from blaming circumstances to taking responsibility, to building powerful, trusting relationships, and finally to renewing ourselves so we don't burn out. By the end, the viewer isn't just hearing about 7 habits. They're seeing themselves in them. Habit 1. Be proactive. The moment you take back control. Picture this. It's Monday morning. Your alarm goes off, you hit snooze twice, then drag yourself out of bed already late. On the way to work, traffic is worse than usual. Someone cuts you off. You snap, you swear. And by the time you arrive, your mood is already ruined. The rest of the day feels like one big reaction. Emails, demands, problems. You feel like a victim of everything around you. Covey calls this a reactive life, a life controlled by circumstances instead of character. Now imagine the same morning, but with one small shift. The alarm rings and you choose to get up on time. Traffic is still bad. Someone still cuts you off. But in the tiny space between what happens and how you respond, you pause. You take a breath. You decide, I'm not giving this stranger control over my day. You turn on a podcast that inspires you. You arrive at work a little calmer, a little more centered. That tiny space between stimulus and response is where habit 1 lives. Be proactive. Being proactive means you focus on what you can control. Your actions, your words, your effort, your attitude. You stop saying, there's nothing I can do, and start asking, wait, what can I do right now? A proactive person doesn't deny problems. They just choose not to hand their power over to them. Think about one thing that is frustrating you right now. Your job, a relationship, your health. For a moment, stop blaming the person or the situation. Ask yourself, what is one small action that I can take today to move this forward? That question is the beginning of effectiveness. Habit 1 is the foundation. Until you accept responsibility for your life, the rest of the habits are just nice ideas. Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. Writing your own eulogy. Now that we've taken back control, the next question is, control for what? Where are we going? Covey invites us into a powerful thought experiment. Close your eyes and imagine you are walking into a funeral. The room is quiet. Family members and friends are seated. As you walk closer to the front, you look into the casket, and you realize it's your funeral. People step up to the microphone to speak about you. What do you want them to say? Do you want to be remembered as kind, courageous, as someone who always had time for others, as a person of integrity who kept their promises, as a parent, a partner, a colleague who lifted others up? Habit 2, begin with the end in mind, is about living today with that end in your awareness. It is not morbid, it's clarifying. When you know how you want to be remembered, you can shape how you live. This habit invites the viewer to define their personal compass. Instead of drifting from task to task, they create a vision for their character, their relationships, their work, and their contributions. It could be as simple as, I want to be a present parent, or I want to build something that outlives me. Or, I want to live with integrity, even when no one is watching. Your life is already telling a story. The question is it the story you want told? If not, you can rewrite it starting today. When we begin with the end in mind, our daily decisions have a direction. We stop chasing everything and start pursuing what actually matters. Habit 3, put first things first, the battle for your time. Once you know what matters most, a new problem appears, your calendar. You say your health and family are important, but your schedule is full of urgent emails, endless scrolling, and other people's priorities. You say you want to start a business or learn a skill, but days keep slipping by. Put first things first is where vision meets discipline. Imagine your life as a jar. On the table are big rocks, your most important things. Health, relationships, meaningful work, growth, pebbles, less important tasks, and sand, distractions and trivial things. If you pour in the sand first, social media, gossip, random busy work, you'll never fit the big rocks. But if you put the big rocks in first, the pebbles and sand can fit around them. In practical terms, this means planning your week or your day around what truly matters. Before the urgent noise takes over, it might look like blocking time for exercise like it's a non-negotiable meeting, scheduling deep work on your important projects when your energy is highest, protecting time with loved ones without your phone in your hand. In your narrative, you can share a simple contrast. One version of you wakes up and immediately checks messages. The day becomes a reaction to everyone else. Another version of you spends the first 30 minutes quietly planning your day, aligning it with your goals. Same life, same responsibilities, but a completely different level of control and peace. Habit 3 is about courage. The courage to say no to good things so you can say yes to the right things. From private victory to public victory, the first 3 habits: be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first, are called private victories. They are about mastering yourself, your choices, your direction, and your time. They move you from dependence, life is happening to me, to independence. I am in charge of my life. But Covey doesn't stop at independence. He argues that the greatest results in life come from something deeper. Interdependence, This is where we work well with others, building trust and creating outcomes together that none of us could achieve alone. That's where habits 4, 5, and 6 come in. Habit 4. Think win-win, changing the game you're playing. Most of us were raised in a win-lose world. If someone else gets the promotion, you don't. If another business succeeds, yours fails. If they are right, you must be wrong. This mindset turns life into a constant competition and relationships into negotiations. Think win-win invites you to change the game. Win-win is the belief that there is enough for everyone. Enough opportunity, enough success, enough respect. It doesn't mean you always get your way, and it doesn't mean you become soft or avoid conflict. Instead, you commit to solutions where both sides come away respected and better off. Two colleagues fighting over budget. In a win-lose mindset, each one is trying to win the argument. In a win-win mindset, they step back and ask, what are we both trying to achieve? Is there a way to use this budget that serves both our goals, or can we find additional resources, or a creative compromise? Win-win thinkers don't see other people's success as a threat. They see it as an opportunity to collaborate, to learn, to expand. They build relationships based on trust, not fear. You might look into the camera and say, think of a conflict you're in right now. What would a win-win outcome look like? Not just for you, but for the other person. And what conversation would you need to have to move in that direction? Habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Listening that changes everything. We often listen just long enough to reply. While the other person talks, we're already preparing our argument, our defense, our advice. We hear their words, but not their meaning. They leave feeling unseen, and we leave wondering why they won't listen to reason. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Turns that pattern upside down. This habit is about listening with the intent to truly understand, not to judge or fix. It means asking, help me see it from your point of view. And then staying quiet long enough for them to actually show you. It means reflecting back what you heard. So you're feeling overwhelmed because you feel like I don't support you. Is that right? Once the other person feels heard, they become far more open to hearing you. Only after you've really understood them do you clearly, calmly explain your own perspective. Habit 5 is powerful because people don't resist you when they feel you are honestly trying to understand them. This habit transforms marriages, friendships, and workplaces, one conversation at a time. Habit 6. Synergize, creating more than the sum of the parts. We've all been in groups where working together feels like a burden. Decisions take longer, egos clash, and the final result is mediocre. But we've also glimpsed the opposite. A team, a family, or a partnership where ideas bounce around. Trust is high, and the outcome is something none of us could have created alone. Synergy is what happens when differences are not just tolerated, but valued. Instead of thinking, you think differently, so you must be wrong, We think, you see something I don't. Let's explore that. Synergy says, let's create a third alternative that is better than either of our ideas alone. For example, one person is detail-oriented, another is creative, another is great with people. Alone, each would create something decent. Together, if they trust and respect one another, they can create something remarkable. Synergy requires the first 5 habits: the self-control to be proactive, the clarity of your own goals, the discipline to prioritize, the mindset of win-win, and the skill of deep listening. When these are in place, synergy becomes possible, and collaboration becomes a source of energy, not frustration. Ask your viewer directly, who in your life thinks differently from you, someone you often clash with? What if, instead of trying to change them, you looked for the unique value in their perspective? What might you build together that you couldn't build alone? Habit 7, sharpen the saw, protecting the person who does the work. By now, we've built a powerful way of living. We take responsibility. We live with purpose. We manage our time. We seek mutual benefit. We listen deeply, and we collaborate creatively. But there is a danger: burnout. You can't be effective if you are exhausted, bitter, or running on empty. Sharpen the Saw is about renewal. Covey uses the image of someone sawing a tree with a blunt saw. They are sweating and struggling. When someone suggests they stop to sharpen the saw, they reply, "I don't have time to sharpen the saw. I'm too busy sawing." Of course, that's exactly why they are struggling. Sharpening the saw means deliberately renewing yourself in 4 key areas: physical, rest, exercise, nutrition; mental, learning, reading, thinking; emotional, social, relationships, connection, empathy; spiritual, meaning, purpose, values, or practices that ground you. Imagine treating your body, your mind, your relationships, and your inner life as your most valuable tools. How would you schedule your week differently if you truly believed that you are your greatest asset? This habit reminds the viewer that self-care is not selfish. It is what allows them to keep giving, serving, and growing over the long term. Bring all 7 habits together as a journey. You started as someone pushed around by circumstances. You learned to be proactive and take back your power. You defined the kind of life and legacy you want. You aligned your time with your true priorities. You changed the way you see success, from competing with others to winning with them. You transformed how you communicate, listening first, then speaking. You discovered the power of creating with others, not just alone. And you committed to caring for yourself so you can sustain this way of living. You don't have to overhaul your entire life tonight. Pick one habit that spoke to you the most. Maybe it's taking responsibility instead of blaming. Maybe it's listening more deeply. Maybe it's finally protecting time for what matters. Start there. Practice it this week, just in small ways. The 7 habits are not quick tricks. They are a way of living. Over time, they don't just make you more efficient. They help you become the kind of person you most respect. Effectiveness isn't about doing more. It's about becoming more intentional, more honest, more connected, more whole. And that journey begins with a single choice you make today.